Suits channel. Woohoo! Welcome, guys. Welcome. And we've got a special treat right over here. Big NC Hill Rodney going to be hanging out with us today. Robbie Wheaton from Wheaton Arms. Always appreciate Robbie for being here. Check out
good to be here.
WheatonArms.com. Custom Glock parts. I mean, some of the best Glock trigger on the market, aftermarket trigger and barrels and all kind of stuff. And he does custom gun work. Been a gunsmith for over 20 years.
When they're in stock, what's the status on
Yeah, because they sell out.
Somebody's going to ask.
They are.
Every week.
Every week.
At least once.
We've got a huge production run of triggers that are finishing up. We've got Gen 5 stuff that we wrapped up yesterday that are going through QC and everything, going to be up on the site this week. And then the 1 through 4s are finishing up in production now. So
guys,
probably another week, a week and a half on
if
those.
you find those triggers online, you better grab them because they sell that quickly, because they are honestly, to me, the best triggers.
Yeah.
In fact, I've got my new Glock 29. I'm trying to weasel him into a trigger. And I have to ask him ahead of time. Make sure I want to get it. So also Sarah Mack over on the computer monitoring things and keeping us straight. We got an added bonus today. So great to have you guys with us. And somebody's phone's already on. Okay, so
good job, Rodney. Good job.
Now see, we all talk about getting the phones.
Never makes noise.
Getting the phones
never
off.
makes noise.
And he's the one talking, and he leaves his on. All right.
Nobody ever wants to talk to me.
So Rodney also works with Roaring Fire Gear. You know, guys, I've just put up a video on Sensible Prepper, and I'm a big fan of their tool roll bags. We're going to look at that. They are doing a big sale right now. So you're going to run over there and check it out for Christmas. And I know Robbie's got sales.
We do. We'll have sales going all the way through Christmas right now.
So make sure you go over to Wheaton Arms and get going on it.
That's right.
I'm telling you, it's good quality stuff. Today, we're going to talk about a number of different things. But first off, the big thing that we really want to talk about is the gun control threats that are coming up 2021. And at this point right now, again, I've mentioned this before, just go to joebiden.com and look at his gun safety measures. And it is a nightmare for Second Amendment. We've talked about all that. But the big thing is, and these guys can weigh in, but the big thing is right now is there are two things that he's really going to go after. He has made known that these are the two things he wants done. Number one are the braces. He wants that taken care of. He wants the braces to be counted as
NFA
stops.
items.
Yeah, as NFA items. And he's going to use the ATF to get that through. So secondly, the 80% lowers. That's another thing. The ghost guns. Yeah. That's a big one.
And I'm sure a lot of you saw the in the news this past week, the raid on 80% lowers by the ATF.
Yeah, Polymer 80.
Yep.
Well, it was the certain kit that has everything. It's not just I have a Polymer 80 lower.
Right. What was it? Their buy, build, shoot kit, I believe was the name of it.
Because everything to have a firearm.
To build a complete firearm was included in that package. Yep.
And so they are going through the records. So if you bought one through Polymer 80 or you bought it through a distributor, you bought one of those build shoot, kits.
And the raid was to get the information. They weren't there to get the Polymer 80s. They were there to get the mailing addresses and the names list. And they're not going to stop with the buy, build, shoot kits. Eventually they're going to say, "Oh, you got a frame from Polymer 80?"
Yeah.
I think there's a good possibility with that down the road. That's something we could look at as well.
And the braces, the same thing. They're going to move it to all braces, and there's going to be no grandfather, and they're not going to let. I don't know what the number is now with SB Tactical, but it's on up there.
They're not going to let those millions.
They're not going to let those stay out there. They're going to do just like everybody else, and just like they're going to retroactive. They shouldn't have. They misapplied whatever guidance they had, and they'll recorrect themselves, whatever it is, legal jargon they use to.
It's not legal.
Say what we said was good is no longer good.
But here's the big problem, and it's the same thing, with Trump, because Trump has actually asked the ATF to back off, and the ATF just snubbed their nose at him. And a lot of people are like, "Well, that's Trump's ATF." No, it's appointees that were during the Obama administration that were already in there, and that's part of draining the swamp. Now, but before we continue, though, I forgot something very important. Sarah Mack just reminded me. Yes, I did. Is Sportsman's Guide. They're sponsoring our episode today. Sportsman's Guide. You get $20 off every $100 purchase using SOOTCH. Just Such, not 00. just Such. I can't put a link because they do sell other firearm and firearm parts. But you can go there and you can get a $20 off every $100 purchase. I just purchased, in fact, Rodney, we were looking at them, a number of gas cans, jerry cans. They do surplus and they import a lot of them that are military surplus. And a lot, that's the big thing I buy over there is military surplus.
You get like 4?
I got 3 of let's see, it's the 7 liter and 2 of the 5 liters. And then I had 2 of the surplus 5 liters, which are not on sale right now.
Yeah,
they don't have them.
They're metal and they're nice. I mean, I was just talking to him about it because I have a bunch of the red plastic ones, and after a while, those things start to bow out.
Yeah,
and I worry that the seam's going to bust. And
yeah, there was one of those that my car was like, you just need to go ahead and move this out there, put it in the back, and we'll deal with Don later.
They are nice. I was like, is there a pallet of them in here?
But I actually could kind of even considered bringing a couple over here because they're so nice. But I do have a review coming up on Sensible Prepper. But guys, I just, as a standard customer, I go on there and use my own code to buy things. I mean, so Sportsman's Guide's great. And been buying from Sportsman's Guide for the past 40 years.
Yep. So, those things are big. How much were they to ship?
Well, I'm part of the buyer's guide, and I got,
free shipping on those.
Got free shipping.
Yeah.
So I get this big old huge box. That's like those 55-gallon drums.
I couldn't imagine
I got free shipping on those.
For shipping on
that.
So anyway, Sportsman's Guide, we really appreciate them. And we don't want to get sidetracked. So the big thing is, guys, is those are just the initial things. Those are the initial. They want an assault weapons ban, and Harris has been really strong about that, how she wants to sign an executive order, which is illegal. But from what we've seen already, that doesn't mean it's going to stop them.
Well, that's one of the big things where, especially in the state of Georgia, you need to make sure that you get out and vote for your senators, because that is our last vestige of hope that we maintain the Senate. We've already lost Congress. It looks like the presidency is going to turn in a few weeks. We absolutely have to maintain the Senate in Georgia. So if you live in the state of Georgia, make sure you get out and vote. Take your friends, take your family, make sure everyone that you know gets out and votes.
Of course, with the, and the sad thing is a lot of people feel this way. They feel like that their vote doesn't even count. So, whether you believe in the voter fraud or not. But anyway, we've just got to be active. Now, the thing is, this is the tip of the iceberg. Again, they're going to be looking at assault weapons bans. They're going to be looking at making AR-15s NFA items, which means you have to register them. You have to pay a tax stamp. I don't care about paying the tax. I mean, I do. I don't want to pay it. But what I'm most concerned about is registering your firearms, because registration leads to confiscation. And it just always happens that way. So here's the thing, guys. We have got to get our voice out there. We have got to stand firm. There's not a lot we can do, but there are things you can do. And number one is to get in touch with your congressmen, your senators, even on the state level, on the federal level, and just start giving them, just let them know that if they're pro-gun, support them. If they're not, give them heck. Because there are a lot of Democrats that are like on the fence. I mean, they're more moderate.
That's right.
And they know that if they go for gun control in a big way, they could be booted out. So, and 2, gun control right now is at its all-time low in the past 20 years, so, as far as the support.
We've added over 6 million new gun owners in the United States just this year alone. And that's Democratic and Republican, independent, libertarian. I mean, it's across the board where we've added new gun owners in this country.
Right.
And just like you said, that goes back to show how low gun confiscation or any sort of registration or restrictions on our Second Amendment rights are right now in this country.
Right.
It doesn't matter what party you support. That is the ability to be able to defend yourself is at an all-time high in this country right now. And that's something that we need to continue to gather support with and continue to push that.
Right. So not only getting in touch with your senators, congressmen, your representatives, again, guys, even if they are super liberal, hammering them lets them know that they have constituents that are not pleased with that decision. And also, guys, right now the NRA, they've been hamstrung, and I don't know what all's going on there. But guys, we need to continue to support our pro-gun
lobbies.
Yes. And the NRA is out there doing stuff, but they just don't seem to be as vocal as they were. The big thing is Gun Owners of America. That's a big one. And Larry Pratt and Eric Pratt and that whole group. I mean, they are fighting hard. And then you got the Second Amendment Foundation. You also have your state groups. Make sure we have Palmetto State gun rights here in South Carolina, and we need to get behind that. Because here's the thing, guys, you can have certain states that say, well, you know what? We're not going to enforce federal law here if it's gun control. So we need to be thinking about those different alternate ways.
Like Virginia with the VCDL. They're a very, very vocal organization within the state of Virginia. Even though the governor is Democratic and very anti-gun in that state, the VCDL has a huge presence there, and they're really outgoing and outspoken about letting the legislature within their state know how their constituents within that state feels.
Right.
And we need to make sure that here in our state and in your states that you do the exact same thing, that you make sure that your voice is heard, that you join an organization, that organization is a very vocal organization, and that they're constantly hammering on their representatives within the state, on the state and the federal level, making sure that your voice is heard within the state.
Right. That's right. Okay. So don't give up hope. Keep the fight. Totally. I mean, keep the fight going. We'll touch back on this if we have some more points. And we're going to go ahead and open up to some questions.
Woo-hoo, my favorite time of the day.
One thing I do want to say before we get to questions, guys, if go over to getzone.com, and this is not, somebody said the other day, they said it was like a commercial. Well, we don't really talk about much, except we have certain things we want to bring to you guys. But here's the thing. Surefire, I just did a video on the Scout mounts, the Scout Pro. And this is an upgrade from their original Scouts. And I did a whole comparison about what is the Pro and how it compares to the Scout. And it's on getzone.com. It's on their homepage. Just run over. We've got a link down below in the description. You can go right to it. But that is, and two guys, another thing about GetZone is it is a Second Amendment friendly platform. We've got to stay on YouTube as long as we can, but the gun industry, that's the only place that they can do any kind of advertising and support. So make sure you get over and start looking at alternate media sources. So it's just important for us to be able to do that. All right, let's go to questions.
Farmer K asked, I got a question for you guys. Why is it so hard to find hunting ammo these days?
Well, it's hard to find any ammo right now. A lot of it's being bought up as fast as possible. Now, I was in Palmetto State Armory last week, and they did have some different calibers, but most of the popular calibers are gone. So it's just a lot. It has everything to do with just people are afraid and they're buying up ammo as fast as possible.
And it's a trickle down effect as well. You started off with your bulk ammunition like 9mm and 5.56, 1,000-round packs. That started first and that disappeared. These companies are trying to continue to build that ammunition because it's very popular. And as that ammunition disappeared, people were like, well, I need ammo for this gun and for that gun, your hunting rifles and things. So then you start seeing people buying your hunting ammo and stockpiling that. So they have ammo for their firearms.
Yeah, most people don't stockpile hunting ammo, but seeing all the 9mm gone, they're like, I better get that 300 Win Mag while it's still on the shelf.
While it's still on the shelf, that's right, and it's still available.
And right now they're not making hunting ammo because they can't keep up a 9mm.
Exactly.
So that's bread and butter 9mm 380.
That's right. They're using those components to go toward some of the really popular,
more popular calibers. That's exactly right.
CJ LaChapelle asks, Such, do you think it is smart for civilians to carry a pair of handcuffs in case we have to hold someone for the cops?
I don't. If there may be some legality in certain areas, don't know.
I think really that's going to be based on your individual state laws and what's allowed and what's not allowed in your state. I don't personally, but that may be something that in your state that is encouraged. But I would look at your individual state laws before you make a determination on whether or not to do that.
I wouldn't recommend it either unless you've had training in apprehending people, because trying to put handcuffs on somebody that doesn't want to be handcuffed can end badly.
Yeah, well, we've seen it over and over in law enforcement videos where they're trying to handcuff and they can't do it. And another option, though, is zip ties, those heavy-duty zip ties. In fact, I keep them here at the house. And in fact, a friend of mine is law enforcement, actually is the one that gave them to me. But I agree with Rodney here, especially is that you're making yourself vulnerable by making contact with that person.
I like Robbie's method the best. Just have them get on the ground and.
Yeah, Robbie's been in an actual situation where he had some guys breaking into his car and he held them on the
I
ground.
mean, I've had the same thing, and I've never said, man, I wish I had a pair of handcuffs.
Nope.
I
So-
just put them on the ground.
But it's just
Because it's a whole different story when
consideration.
you go hands on with somebody.
Yeah.
A completely different situation.
Country Boy 309 asks, so they're trying to ban all braces, even on PCCs?
Yeah, that's the big thing. They don't want the braces. They know that it's kind of a loophole, and it really, let's just face it,
It was.
it was a loophole. It is a loophole. But here's the thing: we live in a rule of law, and that means if it's not specified in law, it's legal. And so, that's the reason why they could do this.
I mean, you would be short-sighted to think they're going to stop at this particular brace.
Right.
All these other braces are fine, but this one we don't like. No, that's a jumping board. That's a springboard for the rest.
Well, and the thing is Biden, that is his push, is to stop braces. So now where they get with that, we'll see. I mean, nobody knows the future.
Yep.
We just don't. But honestly, that is the attack we're seeing is on really on all braces.
Well, and on the flip side of that, you do have a lot of disabled people that use that as a true support and a true brace to clamp on their arm to be able to help them stabilize that firearm while they're shooting it. If you take away their ability to be able to use that firearm and use that firearm effectively, you're taking away that person's right to be able to use a firearm.
Well, and they could grandfather in something to where if you're a disabled veteran or disabled person, you can use it, and they may have some open.
Or effectively, if they make braces an NFA item, you might as well just have an SBR.
Sure.
I mean, why would you have a braced pistol that's an NFA item?
Right.
Tim Pavlov asks, what is more reliable ammo, 40 or 45 cal?
I would have to say 45 caliber, just because of the projectile shape. The truncated cone that the majority of your 40 caliber 180 grain projectiles are shaped as is not a ideal shape of a projectile to feed properly in a lot of handguns. So you see people get feed ramp jams where the round will drive straight into the feed ramp and stop, or you get just the opposite where it hits the feed ramp and kicks straight up and hangs in the top of the chamber. That truncated cone is really it's a poor design for that caliber. It would have been a much better round if it would have been designed as a round nose, similar to the 45 ACP or the full metal jacket rounds for the 9mm. I think it would have made those firearms much more reliable.
And that's in the target ammunition.
Right. Well, and a lot of your hollow points still have a pretty
They
flat
are
corner.
short. They're short.
Defense,
Yes, that flat top. If you'll notice, when you get 40, it has kind of a little bit of a flat top. In fact, 10mm has the same thing.
It does.
Okay.
But the 10 is a longer cartridge and a longer case,
Right,
and it's got more of a
feeding.
jump space, so it tends to feed a little more reliably than the 40 caliber. But that's where I would say that the 45 ACP, especially with 230 grain ball ammo or full metal jacket ammo, is much more reliable than the 40 caliber.
Bingley N asks, do you see suppressors being banned?
Oh yeah. That's not one thing they've actually been talking a lot about.
Yeah, I haven't heard them say anything about silencers.
Well, but it's already an NFA
It's already
item.
an NFA
Right.
item.
So I don't know that they're really going to mess with that. I mean, we're not going to get it to
Yeah.
where
On
it's
the flip
not
side-
regulated.
Right. On the flip side, I wouldn't see suppressors being deregulated.
Yeah,
Taking
no.
off of the NFA.
The thing is, if they want the suppressors, they know where to come get the suppressors
Right.
because they're NFA items.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's already a restricted item that you have to register with the ATF. It takes about 6 months to a year for your paperwork to come back, depending on what state you're in and how backed up the examiner is in that particular area that does the processing.
That's something you can't sell. You can't lose in a boating accident.
Yeah.
You can't.
You can sell it. It's just cost prohibitive
yeah.
to sell it.
I mean, you
Yeah.
can sell it, but
Yes, ma'am.
Because generally, if you sell a silencer in state, it's only a one stamp transfer. But if you sell a silencer outside of your state, say somebody, like we live in South Carolina, somebody in Georgia wants to buy a silencer that I have, and that silencer is already registered on a Form 4, it's a 2-stamp transfer
it's gonna be
because
the
I have
two
to transfer it.
doesn't it?
I have to transfer it to the dealer, and that's a $200 stamp. And then that dealer transfers it to that individual, which is another $200 stamp. And for an item that costs $500 to $1,000, most people aren't willing to pay an extra $400 to transfer it.
Stephen Broffett asks, what can I do here in New York?
The same thing.
Same thing.
Get in touch with your state representatives. Get in touch with your congressmen, your senators. Let them know every single day what you think about firearms, that you're pro Second Amendment, that you support the Second Amendment, you're one of their constituents, and that you would encourage them to do the same thing to support your constitutional rights.
Right. There's more to New York than New York City, and
Absolutely.
you guys have to fight. And there was a lot of Trump votes in New York this election.
Yeah, there were. But the thing is, even if they are already deciding, it just puts that little bit of doubt in their mind all the time, and just keep it rolling.
Brett Kunkel asks, what is your knowledge and or opinion on banning certain ammo calibers by Biden?
The big thing now this is another part of that threat, and this is a big one.
This is a huge one.
Is that he can ban imports. He can ban imported firearms unless, now, if they have sporting purposes, they're allowed. But if there's any gray area, like the AK-47, like a lot of firearms,
handguns,
a lot of the CZs,
and that goes back to the GCA or the Gun Control Act of 1968. There's a set of rules and features and basically a scoring system that they have designed to rank firearms, whether they can be imported or not. And different features give a gun more points or less points depending on the feature that it is. So they have to have a minimum score to be able to be imported to begin with. If they don't meet that minimum score, then the firearm can't be imported. That's why a lot of your handguns that you see that are imported have to have manual safeties. They have to have fixed sights on them. They have to have a bunch of different features to be able to be imported into the country to begin with. The same thing with semi-automatic rifles, bolt-action rifles. They all have to have a certain set of features to be able to import into the country. And that's something that it would be very easy to change those features that are or are not allowed to be able to restrict the importation of firearms.
But ammunition. The firearms is not really that is the one thing that when Russia was playing a lot of their games, especially in Ukraine, Trump banned any firearm type imports and a lot of Vepers and the Molots and a lot of different firearms. But here's the other side.
And a lot of the ammunition that we were getting.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. The ammunition is probably one of the scariest things. Our steel cased ammunition for our AKs is wonderful, and the price is really cheap.
Yep.
But it's not only AK ammo. It's
not AK. It's the PPU and
the Privy
Monarch, and if they said no more of that, the American manufacturers for ammunition would never catch up.
No,
there's just no way they could.
I'll tell you one that a lot of people don't think about that is imported into the country is PMC.
Yeah, I mean, all that's everybody thinks the AK ammo, but you look when you go pick up, like I said, PPU, PMC, Monarch, all that's Eastern Bloc stuff. They make some good stuff, and if all that dried up and all you could buy was Federal and Fiocchi and that, there's no way they could pick up that load.
And that's one thing about Fiocchi is they were originally from Italy, but they manufacture more ammunition in the United States than anybody else. So, but here's the thing, guys, the ammunition right now is the big one. And really these companies are going 24/7 making this ammunition. So it's not like there's a bottleneck in the production. It's just people are buying it.
And something else to consider, even though a lot of ammunition is manufactured in the United States, a lot of the components are sourced from overseas. I was looking at some stuff yesterday, and so like ATK, which is the parent company for Federal. ATK also makes Lake City, which is a majority of the ammunition that our military uses. And just the primers alone, there are 4 different components that are used to mix the priming compound that are imported, that come from overseas. And that priming compound is used specifically for the military, but if it's being imported for the military's ammunition, that same priming compound is being imported for civilian ammunition as well. And if those priming compounds are cut off and not allowed to be imported into the United States anymore, that's another huge area that even our domestic production could be affected by if they couldn't get those raw components to be able to make the priming compound.
Now, before we get too crazy, though, the thing is there are certain guidelines that they have to go by. And the thing is, executive orders aren't just forming new laws. It has to be existing laws that they're reinforcing is what they're doing. So, if something's not being done, then they can come in. So to be honest with you, as far as just a ban on any ammunition, that's not legal. It's not legal. But if it meets certain criteria, like the 7.62 by 3.9, that could possibly be banned. Just like the AK-74 ammunition. All right, let's move on.
Jim Morris asks, "Hey guys, what do you think of the Benelli M4?" Thanks.
Yeah, the Benelli
Great
M2 and the Benelli M4 are two of my all-time personal favorite shotguns. They are extremely reliable, extremely robust and durable. They'll run in almost any condition. You can play with the spring rates in them and run super light shells all the way up through super heavy shells. They're just an amazing shotgun.
Yeah, they're the world class.
That's right.
They're world class.
921C6 Schnell asks, "What's your opinion on Pilgrim ammunition?"
Actually, I just did. It was for the Get Zone Holiday Gift Guide. I did some testing with it, and to be honest, it's a full copper bullet, and but it's really light. I mean, it was like 55 grains for the 9mm.
Wow.
And I was like, this isn't going to function.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just thought this isn't going to function. I had no malfunctions at all. Now I did a limited test. It was going about 2,000 feet per second. So it's more like a 22 TCM.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing is flying, and it functioned my Glock 43X like nobody's business. I do have the 40 and the 45, but I just, they got in late on the game. So I just tested it and it ran great. I need to do some more testing to really give it a stamp of approval. But honestly, I think they were actually the original owners of Liberty Ammunition, the guy that owns Pilgrim, and he now stepped out. They're in Florida. They're great guys. I talked to them on the phone, and but what they said it would do, they told me, they said, take a ham. I'm telling you, that ham, it looked like somebody put it through a grinder. I mean, It wasn't like just blown. It was like just minced. It was crazy looking. And you can check out that video. I can't remember which section. I think it was in the handgun section of the holiday gift guide. But you can check it out.
That's on GetZone.
GetZone.com.
Yep.
Guys, I'm telling you, we need to support those guys.
Chase Wilson asks, "I got a conversion barrel for my Glock 23 to convert 9mm. I got Glock 19 mags and the barrel. Will it function properly just as is, or do I need to get other parts to have it function properly?"
It depends on who you got the barrel from, honestly. If there's a couple of companies out there that their chambers are tapered, and you could have some extraction and ejection issues with it. Our 9mm conversion barrels that we make and sell, you don't need anything other than magazines to work with that one.
They work flawlessly. We have put thousands of rounds through them, and I'm those police trade-ins, those 40 caliber police trade-ins. We got a bunch of those, and we were putting those 9mm conversion barrels in them, and it's just humping. I mean, that thing just works. No extractor. We didn't need an extractor. It pretty much just works straight up.
Leave the stock 40 caliber extractor in it. Leave the stock 9mm ejector in it, and if the chamber and everything's cut correctly on the barrel and the barrel's cut correctly, it should run flawless.
BZARZAGZA asks, "Who is John's favorite YouTube channels that he watches?"
Mine?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, well, I don't really like to watch mine, but I end up having to watch it. I'll tell you, well, I've got some really good friends in the industry, and I kind of like them. I love Hickok 45, and he's a good personal friend of mine. Some people go, that's not a real review. That guy gives you more information. I mean, he just talks about it, and he gives you everything you need. I love Eric, an Iraq veteran, and Chad. I mean, 22 Plinkster is a really great channel. I love 22 Plinkster. Dave is just an awesome guy.
Yep, Mike over at Mr. Guns and Gear.
Mike at Guns and Gear. That was my next one. I love Mike, and Mike and I have done a lot of collabs. Tim from Military Arms Channel, great channel. I like T-Rex Arms. I like T-Rex Arms. They have a lot of cool stuff they do, and they're really up and coming. John Lovell. John Lovell, can't leave him out. And Grand Thumb. Grand Thumb is just a class act, period.
James Yeager.
And we had and James Yeager is a good buddy of mine. I mean, there's so many.
Yeah.
A VSO gun channel. I mean, they're just, and I don't want to leave anybody out because there are just so many good ones out there.
Yeah. That's like
it's a different flavor.
That's like getting called up on the stage for an Emmy, and you're like, oh my God, I know I'm going to forget somebody. You know?
Yeah, because I mean, there are some really great up and coming YouTube channels. It's funny when I was kind of moving along, and people said, "Oh, you just got lucky because you came in early," and I said, okay, but I've seen channels come up. The thing is, it's just if you've got really good content. And
I'll tell you one that I love, Johnny Appalachia.
Oh, I love Johnny B. Yeah, he's but He's a comedy act, but I love it.
That's part of why I love it, because it's so different than what everyone else has. A tremendous channel, though. One of my favorites to watch.
But there are so many. I know I've left some of them out.
Yeah.
But and I have my friends page or my Gun Bros section over there, which I do. And so, but there's a lot of those channels. I don't really get to watch a lot, but when I'm looking for something or I want to just check something out, those are some of the channels.
James Smallwood asked, what do you guys think about 10 millimeter?
Love it.
Love it. Love it. In fact, I'm working right now on a G29. I've been wanting one for a long time. I've had the G20. I just had the Springfield Armory, that 1911 Ronin. Oh my gosh, I love shooting 10 millimeter in a 1911.
Yeah,
because it's thin and you just have a good solid grip to it. So
I'm just the opposite. I love the 10 millimeter in my Glocks because it's a bigger frame and the polymer frame.
Yeah, but you got bear claw.
I do. But that polymer frame, it flexes some and helps to absorb some of the recoil energy, so the gun shoots a lot softer than some of the steel frame guns.
Well, I'll tell you, the Springfield Armory, their 10 millimeter XDM. That's one of your big favorites, because the grip is just it's more ergonomic than the Glock. Now I love Glocks, I do.
Yep.
But I'm telling you, this Glock 29, it's a Gen 4, so it's got a little bit of a smaller grip to it, so I can really get my hand around it, even though my pinky's hanging off. I'm gonna tell you, I just been loving that thing, just loving it. And yes, it's got some power to it.
And when I'm in the woods, that's what I carry.
Right.
I'm out hiking, I go out hunting. That's the handgun that goes on my side.
That's the one to have. That's the one to have.
GB09 Mitt asks, what is your opinion of the Panzer Arms semi-auto shotguns?
I haven't had a lot of experience with them, but I know a lot of guys that love them. Do you have any?
None.
Do you know anything about
experience
them?
at all with it.
I do know. In fact, I think the one that Thad just bought was not a Panzer Arms, but it's very similar to that. And I've heard really good things about them, but I haven't had a lot of experience.
I'd rather have a Panzer tank.
Hey, now we're talking.
Tiger One. The Tiger One. Okay, guys, don't forget Sportsman's Guide. $20 off every $100 purchase using Such00. So and no Such, just Such.
Just Such.
Not Scotch.
Such, not Scooch. It's SOOTCH, and that's it. $20 off. Again, I use it personally when I want to buy something, and it works. And it's just a great deal. And if you remember their Buyers Club, you get free shipping, which is definitely worth it. Okay.
Lieutenant LT Smash asks, what are your thoughts on Black Ace Tactical as a brand?
Black Ace Tactical.
I've had a few of them over the years, and they've ran great. I haven't had any issues at all with them. They're, they had the deal with the ATF a year or so ago, where one of their shotguns was considered it was originally a firearm, and then they came back and said that no, it wasn't a firearm, it was a SBS. But yeah, great guns. They run very reliably. I've had nothing but positive things to say about
them. Nathan Garner asks, what do you consider a minimum amount of ammunition for each caliber you own?
Well, pre-craziness, I always said you should always have at least 1,000 rounds. Not every caliber. Here's the thing. I have my go-to guns. I have my AR-15 and my 9mm pistol.
I wouldn't even say go-to guns. I have my go-to calibers.
Right. Yeah. Go-to calibers.
Yep.
Now I have 32 ACP. I have, I have mouse guns, little 25s. I have a couple hundred rounds.
And that's what I was going to say. That may be something that you've only got 150 or 200 rounds set aside for once in a blue moon when you take them out and go and shoot them.
But honestly, I would be heavier on my go-to rifle caliber.
Your primary calibers, whatever your go-to primary, whether it's 9mm, 40, 45, whatever.
Like for
and your rifle, your 223, 5.56.
Well, to me, honestly,
your go-to is.
Rifle caliber would be number one, because rifle caliber is something that would be your primary defense in a grid down situation.
It's
your handgun's great.
1,000 rifles and 1,000 pistol.
So I would have a good bit of my rifle caliber, but the go-to caliber for my 9mm, which it is, definitely have I'm way above that, but minimum 1,000 rounds. In the day to day, when we're talking about ammunition being about $1 a round, it's kind of crazy. But
and it depends on how much training you do as well. If you're training a lot, you're going to want more ammo. If you're not training a whole lot, maybe you're doing more dry firing. than your actual live firing with your firearm. You may not need quite as much, but yeah, I think that 1,000 round number that's a safe number to be set up with.
And that's minimum.
Yeah.
That's minimum.
Damien asked, weapon light on the CCW? Question mark.
A lot of people like it. I don't typically carry, my concealed carry typically doesn't, but a lot of guys are going to it. I understand. And they're also going with the RMRs, which I like the RMR, but I don't usually do that. But it is really popular. I keep a night, but here's the thing. If you have a nightstand gun, you definitely need a light on that gun.
Yeah, my house gun has a light.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't CCW one.
yeah, but a lot of guys are doing it.
I do. I've got a light on my CCW because you can use the light as a less lethal device. You know, a lot of times you can use the light someone up. One, you identify your threat. Two, you may be able to stop a threat with just the light without having to pull the trigger. So I like that less lethal option of having a light on my pistol.
Yeah, but you're like 6'4" and like huge. I'm not.
It's still less lethal.
There's a lot of guys that do carry it. I carry a flashlight for that. I mean, I carry a flashlight as a non-lethal option, but in your home, definitely it is a must. But carrying it concealed, I'm not going to say don't. I just personally don't for just different reasons. But I would recommend it if you feel comfortable carrying it. It just gives you another advantage, like Robbie's talking about.
That's right.
I can't think of a reason not to carry one, so you might as well. If
That's
that's what.
Yeah, if you're considering it and you feel like it'll fit, and they make a ton of holster options for it.
And that's what I was going to say. That's the only benefit and drawback is the holsters. There's tons of holster selections, but when you put a light on your pistol, your holster gets bigger. So you have to be more selective about where you're going to carry it. Maybe you like to carry appendix, but when you throw a light on, you're having to carry high appendix, or maybe you have to roll your pistol back to 4 o'clock for it to be comfortable for you.
Then if you're lefty, you got to say pretty pleased to the holster makers to get one.
Right.
Yeah, and left-handed. But definitely, of course, Surefire makes great light, Streamlight. Olight makes some of the most reasonable, really high quality. We beat the crap out of them. Those are great lights.
And so bright.
Yes.
Incredibly
and
bright.
More bright than the competitors.
Yeah.
David Lemermier asks, what's your opinion of Liberty Civil Defense 9mm ammo?
I'll get this one. So I think it's great ammo. The problem that I've ran into with it is it does not function reliably in some handguns. My Glock 19 runs it, but the brass just dribbles down my hand. I get maybe an ejection path with it that's this far out of the gun. It just barely comes out. My Glock 17, even with a 15-pound recoil spring in it with a stock slide weight, it won't cycle the slide on it. Now, most of my 1911s in 9mm, with a lightened spring, I run an 8 or 9 pound spring in my 9mm, it runs fine in those. But a lot of your striker fired pistols, you can have some reliability issues with it.
And that's one thing.
And that's my personal experience that I've had with that ammunition over the years.
And that's one thing about any of this specialty ammunition is, guys, you have got to make sure that is reliable in your firearm.
I've always said with that stuff, buy 2 boxes, 1 box to run through your gun and make sure it's going to function properly. Shoot a whole mag, do a mag dump with it.
Right.
Make sure it runs good in your gun. And then a second box that you're going to use to carry.
Okay, we're going to take just a short break because I do want to talk a little bit about Roaring Fire, and I know Rodney's here, and so we have to, we need to talk about it.
Let's talk
Plus,
about it.
I like the guys at Roaring Fire. This is the Slingshot, and it's just a sling pack. It has a really nice rigid back to it. You can switch this. I just actually put a review up on Sensible Prepper if you want to see all the details.
Super comfortable. You can easily swap out whether you carry it left or right on the strap here.
Yeah, it does.
Versus some of them you have to
Nice
order
pack.
left or right handed. You just the lobster claw clip, you move to the other side. The grab handle, I love the grab handle.
That neoprene grab handle is awesome.
I mean, there's a lot of compartments.
And two, the one thing about Roaring Fire is the price is just reasonable. Yeah, there's Maxpedition, which you guys know I'm a huge Maxpedition guy, and I like the number of different packs. I just did a Mystery Ranch. Just did those are premium packs, and I'm not going to say this is equal to. It's not, but this is a great budget pack, and it'll hold up. In fact, Robbie's son,
I tell you
that story.
My son, 5th grade last year, we got one of these for him for school, and it was kind of one of these deals. We wanted to try it out, see how it would do, and what better way to test a backpack than to fill it up with books and give it to a 5th grader and let him sling it around. The backpack survived all school year. He's still using it this year, so it's his 2nd year with it. He's still using it. There's no rips, there's no tears. All the zippers still function just like they're supposed to with it. The bag is just like it was when we first got it. And that is absolutely a testament to the quality of that bag, because I don't believe that even a Marine could be rougher on a pack than what my 5th grader was.
Would you want to buy a Maxpedition and give it to a kid to tear up?
No, I wouldn't.
But these hold up, lifetime warranty.
Yeah, appreciate
Zipper
it.
breaks, you're getting another bag.
And two, we just spent the weekend down at the hunting lodge with Sam. And I'll tell you, if what Robbie's saying, yeah, if it's holding up, that's something else. And then this is their Timberwolf. This, honestly, to me, is the premium pack on their line.
It is the premium pack. The like the seatbelt webbing. The
it's just got so many freaking
so
features.
And
it's just a great pack.
Nice.
And if
It's
you
a
want to
great looking
see,
pack, too.
it is a great looking pack. And if you want to just, we're not going to sit here and talk about all the information, because you can go to the video we just put up, and there's a link down below. These are on sale right now, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to kind of
running
mention
a Christmas sale. You can look at the Sensible Prepper channel. We have Roaring Fire on Instagram and Facebook. So,
and these are regularly $79, which is a great price. They're $59 during the sale.
Wow.
So just a great price. I think these are 25% off. Those are 20% off. And these are regularly $59. I think they're $47.99, something like that. And then that's where I get my tool rolls from, guys.
Tool rolls, free shipping.
I'm like, tool rolls,
free shipping in the U.S.
Yeah, free shipping.
Shipping will be quick. If you order now, you're getting it before Christmas.
And so, it's just a great little company, and I really like those guys. And then of course Rodney is kicking some butt over there, and we've had a lot of fun with it. It's been good. But we're going to be putting, again, there's going to be the video. We don't have the video. You just go to Sensible Prepper. It's the last one I uploaded. And it was a full review. I didn't even talk about the sale, because it's just one of those reviews of the bag. And then when they go to the website to check it out, they're like, oh, these things are on sale. Okay. So we're going to go back to some questions. I just wanted to take a break from not even our sponsors. We're not even being sponsored by them. We're just doing it because we like to.
Mr. Blank says, would you still support the police if they came to confiscate your guns and or ammo?
No, but it's different. It's a different kind of support. I support law enforcement majorly, but I can tell you right now, in this area that we live in, our police officers are as strong Second Amendment supporters as we are. Now, that doesn't mean they can't come in and bring in a bunch that won't be, but no, not in South Carolina. But here's the thing: it's not to call out the police or anything else. But yeah, if the police were willing to come to my house and take my firearms, no, I will not support that, because that is against the Constitution.
If they're willing to do it, which I don't think they would be.
No, if they're willing to do that, I will not support that officer. If the department is, but on the other hand, just because they do that doesn't mean we're going to defund the police and act like a bunch of idiots and tear up the whole city. But honestly, what you're asking right now is such a bomb. It's a bomb.
It is. It's a truly loaded question. And here's the thing: when you ask a question like that, you not only put law enforcement in a bad light, because there's no right answer for those guys. They can say no, we don't support anything like that. And then they have a ton of issues with the federal government. You say, yes, we're going to support something like that. And then they have a ton of issues with their citizens that they're there to protect and serve. So, that's a terrible question. I hate to say
it's not pretty bad.
It's a terrible question to even ask, or even just because of the connotations that come along with it, and the negative light that I think it shines on a lot of our law enforcement officers.
It's a tough question.
I don't really agree with that. I think that, it is a question that we need to think about. I mean, that is a big thing that's in the country. Defund the police, defund the police. Well, I'm not for that. And honestly, at this point right now, these are rumblings on a federal level. This is not, at least in our states, in the majority of the states. It definitely is in some of the states.
Well, it's one of those things where, most of your sheriffs and city police officers are elected officials. And that's where, once again, you need to be on the phone with them, letting them know that you're a strong Second Amendment supporter, and find out their views, find out where they are as far as supporting the Second Amendment, and encourage them to enforce and support our Constitution within this country.
Well, the sheriff is your highest law enforcement officer. In fact, federal agents can't necessarily operate in a county unless they have permission. Mm-hmm. Now, sometimes they have deals where they work things out.
Right.
But sheriffs have a say. They can say no. So again, like Robbie said, that's a really good point, is to make sure that your city officials are willing to uphold the Constitution.
That's right.
And that's definitely another layer in what you can do.
Your city council, your county council, your chief of police, your sheriff. Make sure all of those people know that you're a Second Amendment supporter. Make sure that your Second Amendment Foundation in your state, that they're contacting the local and the local representatives and making sure that people know that we are strong Second Amendment supporters in the area and that they're following the Constitution.
Right. Yes.
Shane Amos asked, what duty belt and holster should I get for a G19?
Well, if you're going with duty belt, it's best for law enforcement.
Safariland's a hard one to beat.
Safariland is probably one of the go-tos for most law enforcement. Yeah. In fact, I had a guy that approached me at Palmetto State Armory the other week that was in law enforcement. He was asking me about duty belt. I said, that's not my forte. Yeah. I do have battle belts, and I have real, war belts, and I do have really good gunfighter belts, like the DowTechForce.com bull leather belt. What's the ratchet? The one I really like.
Core Essentials.
Yeah, Core Essentials. I love those belts. When I go out to dinner, we go out somewhere nice. I always wear those.
Had to pop mine out the other night when the cheesecake showed up.
Yeah, that was a big piece of cheesecake. But as far as duty belts go, I mean, that's one thing that's not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, I would look hard at Safariland. They make a ton of stuff for law enforcement. Level 2, level 3 retention on their holsters. Very modular belt systems where you can move stuff around. A lot of their stuff actually bolts on or permanently attaches to the belt, so you can click and move pouches around to tailor it to a specific situation. They're really a good go-to option for any kind of duty belt.
I like the Safariland, the thumb drive. I've got one of those for the Glock 19.
Robin Brogg asked, hey, Such and Robbie, I run plus P plus 90 grain. Should I replace extra springs, etc.?
He said Rodney. We just didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm here too.
Yeah, the 90 grain stuff, I'm guessing you're talking about a 9mm with a plus P plus. You probably don't need to replace your recoil spring, but it depends on how many rounds you shoot through your gun a year. Me personally, my rule of thumb is every 10,000 rounds, I put a new recoil spring in my gun. Some people go more than that. Some people go less than that. But that's what I found just kind of works for me. 10,000 rounds, I put a new recoil spring in the gun just because of reliability. So your spring doesn't take a set or anything. And, you've always got good strong recoil spring retention in your gun. So, if you're getting up around that, I would recommend replacing it. If you're not, I'd probably just leave it alone. And then as far as going with a different spring rate, higher or lower, as long as your pistol's running reliably with the spring rate that you've got in the gun right now, I would stick with that same spring rate.
There you go. Inquiring minds will do that.
10,000 rounds. I should be good for another couple of weeks.
Tactical Time asks, what is your favorite pistol? I'm Canadian and a security guard.
Well, I'll tell you this. It's not necessarily just my favorite as in just favorite, but I think we'll all agree that the Glock 19 is our gun. That's the one that we go to
That's
or
my
carry.
go-to.
If I had one gun, it would be the Glock 19.
That's right.
Now, I'm actually carrying the Glock G43X because we have the 15-round Shield Arms magazine in it, and it's a smaller gun. But the Glock 19 is the gun. I've shot personally over 100,000 rounds through the Glocks. I mean, because for the years, I've just done a lot of tactical pistol classes, competitive shooting, a lot of stuff. And it just feels like home to me. There are a lot of other really good guns. The Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0, excellent. The CZ P10C, excellent.
Canics.
The Canics are great guns.
That's like asking who's your favorite child.
The SIG P320, the HK VP9. The HK VP9 is one that's high on the list for me.
CZ75.
CZ75.
Love the CZ75. But for my go-to, still going to the G19 every single time.
Yeah, but again, we live in the golden age of firearms, like I like to say, and so the choices, there's so many choices out there.
Yeah.
But we're not myopic with Glock. We just have a lot of experience. We have a lot invested in Glock from shooting. So I can pick up another gun and go, oh, that feels really good. In fact, I picked up my HK P30, which I keep on my dresser. I picked it up and I went, oh, I love the way this feels. And then if I need something, I'm grabbing my,
When's the last time you picked up a gun and go, what were they thinking? They all feel good, man.
J Ray asks, should I sell some of my 7.62 by 39 ammo to purchase more 5.56 for my primary weapons?
I probably wouldn't, not
I
right
wouldn't,
now.
I wouldn't.
And the reason that I say that is you can still buy 7.62 by 39. I saw some online earlier this week for about $329 a thousand. So it hasn't seen that huge spike in cost like you've seen with the 5.56.
That's up over $1 round now, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, 80 cents, 85 cents around at least. So until you start seeing your 7.62 by 39 get more in line price wise with your 5.56, I would probably not do that, because at this point you're looking at a 2 to 2.5 to 1 ratio. If you sold it, you'd have to sell 2,500 rounds to be able to purchase 1,000, and that's just that math just doesn't work
make
yet.
no sense. I'd
Yeah.
rather have the count than the caliber.
Right.
Well, unless you just happen to know somebody that has the 223 or 5.56 that's willing to just trade with you.
That's right.
I mean,
A 1-for-1 swap.
Yeah,
then
that
absolutely.
would be something. But yeah, to go out just generically and try to sell it as the market price, yeah, you're going to probably lose some money. And the other part is if they start putting a ban on some of this imported ammunition, your 7.62 by 39 is going to go through the roof.
That's right.
We saw that with the
5.45 by 39.
Yes, that.
The 74
That.
Baron Saturday asks, should I get the Ruger AR-15 or the Smith & Wesson?
I think maybe the Ruger might be a little better quality, but haven't you seen some issues with the Rugers?
They've got some different, not really.
Maybe it was something.
And they've got some different levels with each of those guns, from like they're pretty much completely stock gun with the plastic handguards all the way up through some higher end ones that have free float handguards and a better stock, better grip, better trigger. So, the thing that I would look at is one that's got a 1 8 twist barrel. That's going to allow you to shoot a larger variety of ammunition. A free float handguard is nice if it comes with it. If it doesn't, it's something you can add later. And then a good trigger. Pretty much everything else on the guns they're kind of a wash, honestly. Mil-spec receivers, if they both got mil-spec triggers, mil-spec butt stocks, all of that stuff's pretty much a wash with those guns. The big thing is the barrel. Make sure you've got a 1 8 twist barrel. That way you can shoot a larger variety of ammunition. Heavier weight projectiles, up through 77 grain, and then all the way down to 40 grain. The 1 9 twist barrel really caps you at about 62 to 68 grains. You can't go any higher than that and stabilize the bullet.
But that's kind of across the board with any AR. But yeah, your Smith & Wesson and your Ruger.
My personal choice would be the Smith & Wesson Sport 15, just because they have a proven track record.
Mm-hmm.
They do. Yeah, they do. And a lot of people love those guns. So, and price.
In the price.
Chili Cayenne asks, Such, what's your take on the recent ATF saying AR pistols with braces are now AOWs? Where do we stand with existing AR AK pistols with braces that we already have?
Well, at this point right now, there's no real final decision.
Right.
I mean, they're not illegal right now. They're not.
Yeah.
We can still have them. We can still shoot them just like we've been shooting
Still
them.
buying them.
You can still buy them.
No determination's been made.
Yeah,
right.
Nothing. But it's, I can tell you right now, as soon as Biden gets in office, we'll see the pressure come on.
From what I understand, with his advanced team, their first meeting was with the ATF.
Well, he'd already been on the phone with us too.
As soon as the GSA gave his team permission to talk to other agencies, that was one of their first trips.
Yeah, so we're going to be seeing some changes with braces. I can promise you. We're going to see some changes. But at this point right now, you are still fine to have a brace and do whatever. And as that comes along, we'll talk more about it. But they're hitting companies right now mainly.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but again, there's no real finalized determination.
Luke B asks, give me gear advice. Only gear matters.
Gear advice. And that's a wow. That's a huge open-ended question.
Man, we've only got 6 minutes, dude. Come on.
Give us, the thing is gear. Okay, I'll give you some gear advice. Buy the best quality gear that you can afford. That's one thing. Also, do your due diligence. Check out some reviews. See what people are saying.
Use your gear. Don't buy it and store it.
Yeah, one thing I'll tell you too, and I used to get this a lot. People go, "Oh, I used to shield." Listen, for me to deceive anyone about anything is suicide on YouTube. Because if I say, oh, this is the best gun ever, this is the best gear ever, this is the best stuff ever, and then you got this other guy over here that gets it and goes, this is crap, this is crap. You know, the thing is it does me no good. So, and reviewers in general feel the same way. They're not going to do that. So do your due diligence, buy the best gear that you can afford. Now, don't go crazy, because usually there's a lot of gear, but buy the best gear that you can afford, and check out the reviews, because there may be some things you see that you don't like.
Watch the reviews and use it. Get out and try it.
Yeah, get out and try it. So I wish I could give you more specifics, but since it was kind of open-ended, I think that's probably the best
We could do a whole
advice.
show on gear.
Yeah, we do. I've already done about 2,000 shows on gear.
Mike P asked, how would you transport your ammo? In a crate? ?
I'll tell you the best thing, which I do my storage ammo, is I put them in ammo storage cans. Now, whether you go with the military surplus cans, which are getting harder and harder to find,
The MTMs,
the MTMs.
the cans with the tray, and you can. Those are perfect.
They are.
MTM Case Guard is one of my favorite companies because we've been buying reloading stuff forever from them.
Yes.
But their ammo tins and their caddies, they have the caddies.
The
where you can
caddies what makes
separate.
it over the top.
That is just cool. They're sealed. They have a gasket seal, so they're waterproof. And so you can do. And so I store all my ammo in those cans unless I'm doing review stuff, and I've got my ammo sitting out. But typically, if I'm putting ammo back, it goes in military tins or it goes in the MTM Case Guards.
And the price on them.
And the weight, and actually the price on the MTM is less.
Catch them on sale. They're way less. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I bought the 4 30 cal cans with the caddy for like $25 when it's on sale.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
No, I do take mine. I put
That's freaking A.
if it's ammo that I'm storing, I put a desiccant pack in each one of my cans with a little bit of moisture and air that's in there. That desiccant pack helps to absorb that. And then when I close it and that rubber seals it up, I don't have to worry about my ammunition degrading or anything because of being exposed to moisture.
Yeah, that's a great point too.
Chase Wilson asked, do you conceal carry at the appendix position or at the 4 o'clock position, and why?
Okay, I do both. I typically carry at 4 o'clock because it's just easy for me during my day. But and this Glock G19, the G43X, the grip is a little bit longer. And so for me to appendix carry, it always wants to tend to stick out just a little bit, no matter what kind of holster or whatever I'm doing. But if I'm going somewhere that I need to be more discreet and I know that I may need it, I do an appendix carry like my P365 or something smaller. And so I do like to appendix carry, but on the everyday basis, I typically carry 4 o'clock.
Yep. And I would mirror that. Other than I'm left-handed, so I carry 8 o'clock. Like Rodney.
It's still 4
8
o'clock.
Yeah.
It's not 9 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock.
Well, it's 8 o'clock.
It's 8 o'clock.
Yeah, okay. I think it's confusing.
It's not 8 o'clock. It's almost
Well,
1
but
o'clock.
let's talk about your appendix carry.
My appendix carry, I do like with Don with a smaller gun. My 43X, I appendix carry that one. My 43, I appendix carry that one. Especially if I'm going to be walking around a lot, I like to carry appendix. If I'm up and down a lot, I'm going to be sitting down a lot, or I'm driving a lot. I like the 4 o'clock position is much more comfortable in the car.
I thought you was gonna be like me and just say, no, I like to eat too much. And I've tried appendix. I just can't do it. It's just,
You have to really, it has to be part of your lifestyle,
Yeah.
and you can do it. I know John Lovell, he has like a whole freaking,
I know he's got like
a suitcase right up here, and you can't even see it. But, for me, I do like to appendix carry. One reason I really would rather appendix carry is I can do that a lot quicker than I can do this. So appendix carry to me is fast. It's easy to get it out. But
It is. And it keeps both your hands in front of you.
right. That's
You know?
true. That's
So
true.
you
And
gotta
it
draw
doesn't come across your
That's right.
body.
Yep. You're not moving a hand behind you. Now, there's benefits and drawbacks. You're moving a hand behind you. It gives you the ability to blade yourself slightly to a threat or an attack. But, I do like keeping both hands in front of me. So
Right.
there's benefits and drawbacks to both.
Yeah, but to me, the biggest thing is comfort because because I'm doing a lot of editing and doing stuff on the computer, appendix carry starts to drive me crazy.
It's like a good pair of shoes. The more comfortable it is, the more often you're probably going to wear it.
That's right.
If you've got a pistol and your pistol's uncomfortable, it doesn't matter where you carry it. If it's uncomfortable, you're probably not going to carry it. That's right.
It's 1 o'clock. Good grief.
no way.
Well, we have been running our mouths pretty solid. We do. I really appreciate Robbie for showing up and doing being the walking encyclopedia of gun knowledge.
2019.
After last week, I appreciate him showing up. He did make it here like 1 minute before. But also, we really do appreciate Rodney for coming out.
I was brought in from the bullpen in case Robbie was.
Well,
I already had him warmed up when I got here too.
and Rodney's we've got some things we're going to be doing this afternoon, video wise, and so we're going to have a lot of fun. Check out Roaring Fire Gear, and y'all got some new things coming up. And I know you can't talk about them. They got some new things coming up that are pretty cool. Their tool roll bags are absolutely thebomb.com. I just love those things. You just roll them out. It's got everything right there instead of digging through your pack. Just a lot of cool stuff. Check them out. And we really do appreciate Rodney for being here. Ronnie. We need a Ronnie.
We got Rodney. I appreciate Rodney being here.
But yeah, we appreciate Rodney. Also, definitely, and check out wheatonarms.com. Make sure you do that because they do have just the best Glock triggers, and their barrels are just awesome.
Go over there and see if he has anything in stock.
Yeah, because people are buying
think about it. Don't ask the wife. Buy it because it won't be there later.
Yeah, it won't be there later.
Literally, I go to buy a gun. I'll be like, Robbie, I'm gonna buy this gun. How long is it gonna be?
Now, and also Sarah Mack for setting up everything on the computer. Also, Sportsman's Guide, $20 off every $100 purchase using Such in the coupon code, no 00. And great. If you're into prepping or anything surplus stuff, they've just got things from all over the world. And also Get Zone, run over and see the Surefire Light Scout Pro mount review and how we set all this up, even the small compact, some of the differences between these. We worked on that. And then also we brought out the original Scout. And so those are they're excellent lights. They're world-class lights and just great. But getzone.com, an alternate source from this anti-gun social media that's going on. And so, and let me see, is there anything I forgot? I think I've given out all my stuff. But again, we really appreciate you guys most of all for being here because that's why we're sitting here. Of course, we can sit here and talk. And we probably will talk a little while longer.
Sarah Mack would be the only one that would be against that idea.
No, she'll get up and just leave. But we do. We appreciate all you guys coming out. And guys, we got to stop. Keep fighting. Keep fighting for your rights no matter how it looks. No matter what happens, you need to continue to stand for our Second Amendment rights. Figure out ways that you can get involved and support local gun groups, support your law enforcement, and let them know how you feel. Guys, make yourself personable with your law enforcement. Give them support.
They need it more than ever.
They do, and let them know that, and talk to them and say, hey, what are your views on Second Amendment? We need to be spreading this around. And we need to really, because guys, we've got a fight on our hands for the next 4 years, and we've got to be ready to fight. We've got to be ready to stand up. So be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic.